and sit down.
What is going on, dads? And welcome to episode 27 of the Dadness of Our Show, recorded on Sunday, January 3rd, 2021, folks. We're your hosts, Drew and John, and thank you for joining us tonight for some Nintendo and Dicey Sets games. John, you ever play Dicey Sets games, or even like the old Kama Sutra card games?
I can't say that I have, no.
Maybe with that shit that you met on the internet that time and you went over there. No, nothing?
No.
Okay. Either have I. But I've always seen them. They have the dice, you roll them. It's supposed to be like, yeah, whatever. Anywho.
Right. No, I want to know more about this.
No, I mean, there's not much more. My wife did get a deck of cards once that had like all the different positions on there. And you look at those things and it's like half of them, you're like, that can't be real. Like, I feel like my dick would break if I tried some of those things. Speaking of, not that, but
record this stunt.
So, on a side note, quite related, my wife and I were watching TV the other day, and I don't know how the conversation came up, but I have a trivia question for you on the spot.
All right.
We were watching something, and it said something about how much a breast weighs.
God.
If you had to guess how much a boobie weighs, and now obviously it depends on the size, so I'm going to let you pick the size based on what you want to take your best guess at. And let's go. So what size cup would you want to take a guess at?
Let's go with like a C cup. I don't want to get too big, but it's like not as fun.
Okay, I got the whole chart laid out in front of me here.
Oh
so
my
C
God.
cup. How much do you think each boobie weighs?
Boobie.
Average, obviously.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, gosh, I'm trying to like in my head.
Cup it, think about it in your head, cupping it and, playing with it. And, what's your guess?
I know that like women who have bigger breasts like have back issues. So I know it's not like a tiny thing. So I think it's a little heavier. Like I would tend to think like at 1.5 or 2 pounds, but I think it's got to be a little heavier. So I'm going to go with 3.5 pounds per boobie.
Wow, that is incorrect. You should have stayed with your original gut.
Oh,
1.52 pounds.
1.52.
See, I thought like you. I thought it was higher. This chart goes all the way up to K-size cups if you were curious, which would be a little over 7.5 pounds. But
each. Wow.
Each. Yeah, when you're right. Everyone talks about back problems and stuff, and you think about a D cup here is only 2 pounds, and I say only. I mean, I don't have 2-pound boobies, and I don't want them, but. My point is,
you work hard enough through, you can earn those.
If you had 4 pounds on your chest, do you think that's a lot of weight?
See, I don't think that's a lot of weight, but it's like always there. It doesn't.
And it's pulling at you from your chest. It's not like it's on your shoulders. It's
your body is going to compensate just a little bit. So I can see it from a long-term perspective, but it's like yeah, if you put it on there and you're like, oh, this isn't bad, but it's like yeah, but now have them all the time. Yeah.
True. Speaking of bats, I threw my bat out the other day, John. I'm getting old. And you know what it is? I hate to admit it. I think it's been sitting in my lazy boy chair playing Switch so much. And I think it's that awkward position of me like looking down at the Switch.
So you play in a lazy boy. Okay, so I saw a picture yesterday. I think it was yesterday. Tim, Neoprime Tim.
Yeah.
I think he had gotten a gaming chair for Christmas.
Okay.
And so he had a picture of himself playing in the gaming chair, but the gaming chair, I'm not sure what to take from it, but it seemed like he was like all the way, like he was rotated back like this. And he was writing the company to see if they had a pedestal. So I assume he's sitting down in the chair and it's not like staying upright. And so as he leans back, the chair leans back. So like, what do? Put a couch behind it or whatever?
But that defeats the whole purpose of it.
Right. So there's this picture of him and he's leaning back, but he's got his head kind of up. So like the chair is not
down.
The chair is not supporting his neck or head, and he's leaning back. So he's kind of like looking up, and it looked totally uncomfortable. And I don't think he was like sitting there playing like that for an hour.
But that's my problem. I feel like I'm doing that playing for 3 or 4 hours straight. And I like, it's like my upper back is just, I want to know if anyone else is having the switch back problems.
Well, that's what I'm asking is, are you leaning forward On the
I'm not leaning.
couch?
I must be, because if you think about it, if I'm laying in my recliner, my feet are up, your neck is definitely going to be slight. I'm not holding the Switch eye level. I'm
Yeah.
holding it on my lap.
Yeah, see, yeah, like how I'll do it. I have a rocking chair that I play in mostly, and so I have my feet up, and I kind of keep my arms straight up, so I am holding it a
Like
little
resting
higher
on
to
your
my
knees
eye.
almost.
No, but like if you shrink down in a chair, you can
Yeah,
get a position where you're sort of shrunk down and your hands are up. Like I'm not holding it like looking down. I'm looking more
that's
across. I'm
key.
not holding it up like this and I'm trying to like sit.
So
But I'm more
this
yeah.
is a major problem, and I feel like it's happened before while I was on like vacation or time off. It's not bad when it's just, you play an hour here or an hour there, which is normal life. But when I've been at home for the last 11, 14 days of the hell it's been, I'm playing a lot more, you
Mhm.
know? This
That's
is
why you
gonna
need Just Dance. You have to play Just Dance in
well,
between.
I did play Just Dance. Get to
Okay,
that.
that'll like get your muscles all. You need a
Well,
Just Dance break.
anyways, a lot about me. What about you? What's new with you?
Yeah, I just spent 11 days at home. I can't believe this is the last night.
I know.
Um, I spent a lot of time playing video games, especially lately. I've been playing Dicey Dungeons like all
Oh.
day the last few days. It's just an easy game to play while you're doing anything else, while we're watching a movie.
Exactly. Yeah. Same.
Um, so I've been playing that. I I reorganized my game room a little bit. I moved my Xbox to the top shelf because it was in. I have those IKEA shelves. They're like all squares, and
Mm-hmm.
I had it kind of shoved in because that's where I had my other Xbox. But because it was shoved in, there was only about an inch of space between the top of the Xbox where the big vent is and the
Mm.
top of the shelf. And
Didn't like that. Yeah.
plus, yeah, the vent has that cool green look to it, and it was just hiding. So I moved the Xbox to the top of the shelf. So now when you're standing up, you can see the green, and it has plenty of like air. But I mean, I love my Xbox. Oh my God, it's so silent. You don't hear it at all. It's just great. After having a PS4 that sounds like a helicopter,
Ah, you're such a cheater.
really nice. I'm such a cheater.
You are a
Uh,
cheater.
Otherwise, didn't do much of anything. I have a quick story. Um, our family pod has been my in-laws, and then my brother-in-law and his wife, and they just had a kid in July, their first kid, so they've got this baby, and so we've seen them from time to time. Rest of the family, there's some issues there, so like we spent like the holiday stuff, with them. Like it's like
Yep.
our pod. So yesterday, and we've gone up to their house. In the past, my in-laws during this pandemic, like 3 times have come down to our house, and they wear masks and all that sort of thing. Early on in the summer, we would like sit
Yep.
outside; they wouldn't even
Yeah.
come
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
So anyway, now that we're in this weird phase where everyone's sort of relaxing about it,
Mm-hmm.
because I think it's just
It's
because
weird.
it's just been happening for 10 months now, and I think people are just tired of it, and we know, the vaccines are coming and whatever, but like the vaccines aren't here. I don't have it. So like,
Yep.
um, so anyways, yesterday we go up there for Christmas, like a post-Christmas
Mm-hmm.
exchanging of presents. And my in-laws were actually in their new house. They had just got a house. They moved in a week ago. And so we walk in, and my in-laws, they're not wearing masks. We walk in, we're all wearing masks. In-laws are not wearing masks. Brother-in-law and wife not wearing masks. And it was all like, wait, what are we doing here? Like,
Yeah.
wear your mask. So my sister-in-law, who's not, I don't, yeah, she says, "Do you want us to wear masks or whatever?" And my wife was like, "Yeah." And so they put on their masks. I had the feeling like they were lulled into, we don't need a mask
Yeah.
today.
Yeah. Yeah.
And once they saw us come in with masks, they were like, "Yeah,
Awkward.
you know what? Let's
Awkward.
put the masks on." But
Terrible idea. What were we thinking?
my mother-in-law, and she has done this every single time we see them. She's not wearing a mask. We mentioned wearing a mask, and she goes, "I don't have a disease," or something like that. It's like, I don't have a disease. We have done this with my mother-in-law every single time. And then we'll go on to have a conversation, especially in the early days of this, where it's like, you might have it and not have symptoms and blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. And it was so bizarre that it's like, we're doing this again. You insist you don't have symptoms.
Yeah.
Anyways, they didn't wear masks the entire time. I think we were there for like 2.5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's bad, but yeah, they didn't wear a mask. And it's just like, huh. So we're supposed to see them on Sunday. And I'm like, huh, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. We don't wear masks with our small pod, but that's just our pod.
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, I get tested twice a week for hockey. So it gives me a little bit of sense of like, I don't know. It just gives me a sense.
Everyone does their own thing. The thing that I found weird is when they come here, they're wearing masks. We haven't had to tell them not to. And then they were at their house and it was like, well, we're not going to wear a mask in our own house.
Yeah, people feel weird about that. They feel like it's,
it's my house. But it's like, what does that matter? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, that's so weird.
You know what? People do that at work, because I'm still going to work a few days a week. And it's like, if you go to their cubicle, they feel like they don't have to wear it. And as their boss, I'm like, it doesn't matter. If someone comes to you, you put the mask on. Like, just because it's your cubicle doesn't mean it's like your safe zone.
Right.
But that's how it is. People are still trying to, figure it all out.
I hope there's a day when it's all over, because I'm just so tired of who is more careful than the other. Because we have some friends who are actually more careful than us.
Yeah.
And it makes me feel bad. So it's like, I'm just so tired of that. Like,
I hear you. It needs to go away. Bottom line, folks. It needs to go away.
I do want to add, I work for CVS, which is one of the main pharmacies doing vaccinations.
Wait, you work for CVS?
I work for I work for Aetna, which is owned by CVS. So
that's a Rhode Island company.
I was like, I wonder if we're going to get ourselves to the front of the line because we work for CVS. So I'm hoping to leverage some power, Drew.
Rhode Island company, right, Chad?
Is it really?
CVS is.
Oh, I guess so.
Started Rhode Island.
They bought our company, I think, like 1.5 years or 2 years ago, maybe. We don't really think about CVS much, but I whenever I see commercials, I go, that's the company I work for.
They have commercials?
CVS? Oh, yeah.
I like a minute clinic. Not that I go there often, but I like the idea concept.
Yeah, the clinics that are in the CVS, yeah.
Anywho, let's ready to talk. Let's talk some video games. You ready?
Let's talk about what we've been playing.
So, John, I have been playing more video games the last month than I think I've played in my entire life. And I don't know why or what, but maybe it's the type of games, the kids are watching, the wife's involved. It's just been fantastic in all ways. So I know me and you have been playing some games together. We'll talk about that maybe at the end. But games that you have not been playing that I have been, a couple of things. I just sucked back into Paladins for a little bit, which for all those that don't know out there, it's just a, deathmatch type style. It's a 5-on-5,
It's an Overwatch clone.
I fucking love this game. I have like 115 hours into this game somehow. And it's just so fun for me. It's pretty easy to get in and get out. So it's a good game if I just need to have a little downtime and go shoot some people. That's what I do. I popped back in digitally because I have it digitally, which side note, I'm getting to be a big fan of digital gaming, John. It hurts me to say this, and it hurts probably you to hear it because I know you're a collector as much as I am. But when you play so many games, I start to realize that digital is just the way to go. It really is,
I agree. It's more convenient.
It is. So I went over and I put on Sonic Racing because my son really wants me to play it. And I said, I'll just play it, buddy. But it's too hard for him to play. It's not like Mario Kart where, anybody can pick it up. So I said, I'll play. You can watch, tell me who to be and stuff. I discovered it has a story mode, which was fantastic. It has an overworld where you can kind of move around. And then when you go there, you stop at a level that kind of has a mission. The weird thing it does is it has teams. So it has Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails as a team. And you three are racing against 3 other of the bad guys. But the game's not great. It's fine, but I do enjoy a good story mode for any type of racing game or things like that. So, um, Just Dance was a avid player over the last couple of weeks, more on my wife and kids side. But I honestly just love watching the three of them kind of play. It's a lot of fun, and I'll jump in every once in a while and do a song or two, but it's more their thing. Last thing was Harry Potter Lego. I have to give props to my wife. She 100% completed all 7 movies.
Unreal.
I mean, mind blown. I think it was like about 60 hours of her playing my Switch that I'll never get back, that I really wanted to just play some games. But she was nice enough, the very last level, it's like this little open world map, and it's you have to collect, like, I don't know, so many Brits, like a million little Brit studs or whatever they're called. And she's like, hey, you want to play? Because it's just open world, just go bang stuff and hit stuff. So I jumped in and played with her at the last level. It was fun. I just jumped in all the different cars and stuff, and I kept running her over, and she was just getting me so mad. So
you were like helping her 100% at that point.
Yeah, so I technically 100%ed it because I beat the last one.
Right. I played 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you know, she does a 1,000-piece puzzle, and I go steal the last piece and put it in.
Mm-hmm.
I completed the puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
But the one game I do want to talk about, I picked up once my wife completed Harry Potter Lego. We decided to let's find a game that we could play together. So we did some searching, and we ended up going with Moving Out. Now, I've heard of this game, but I never really pursued it, I guess you could say. And for those that don't know, if you're familiar with Overcooked or any couch, co-op game like this, it's just what it says. You're 2 people and you're moving stuff out of your moving company. John, have you played this game? It's fucking fabulous. I fell in love with this game. My wife and I beat this game in 3 days. We didn't 100% it, but we beat this game. So really quick, when you play the level, you have to move so many pieces of furniture into your moving truck. You have to make sure you pack the moving truck accordingly, or else the stuff's not going to fit at the end.
Oh, you got to pack it nice and efficient.
You do. It's just mayhem. There's so much fun going on. Once you beat the level, it unlocks 3 little, I guess, side missions within that level, which might be random, like don't break a window, or don't do whatever. And then also there's timestamps, so you can get a gold, silver, or bronze medal based on how fast you move all the furniture. But this game was just fabulous. My wife and I were in tears, crying. It was just so much fun. She's trying to throw a cat in the truck, and I'm like, what are you doing? Oh, I thought it was the end table. I was like, it's like a cat. What are you doing? It's just, it's an absolute blast. We were yelling at each other, having fun. The kids watched us one Saturday. We just played it for 4 hours straight, and the kids were watching, playing with their toys. It was absolute blast. I think we're going to start looking for the next game, which I never played, Overcooked 2.
Oh God, you got to play that one.
I know, we played the first one. I will say, Overcooked has been a long time. I mean, that came out 2 years ago at least.
Overcooked 2?
No, the first one.
Oh, I think it was 4 years ago.
So we played that right when it came out. So it's been a long time, but I enjoyed Moving Out more than Overcooked.
Wow, now, really?
Yeah. The other one I was looking at is Stretchers. That might be my next one on my radar as well.
I would go with Overcooked 2 over Stretchers. Okay. I tried to play Stretchers with my wife, and
nice.
She didn't like it. And so we stopped. And then I remember telling my son, Cedric, I was like, you and I looked it up. It was 3 hours long, the game. It's not a long game.
Yep.
And I said, you and I are going to marathon it. We're going to sit down and we're going to play the whole game in one session. And we did.
Yep.
And it was really boring. I nodded off a couple times. Yeah, it was really boring. The weird thing about that game, and I think I mentioned it on the show, is that there's these completion bonuses. Mm-hmm. There's when you're driving around the Stretchers, there's these things you can do, and you try to 100% your journal. I had a freaking blast doing that.
Okay.
So I didn't like the main game, but when it was done, I had a hell of a time, and I just played by myself because you can control both characters by yourself.
Okay, cool.
And I did that by myself, and I had a lot of fun with that. I couldn't 100% it. There was one thing I didn't do. Still can't do it. Maybe we'll talk about that challenge later. But
Ooh.
yeah, so I would recommend Overcooked 2. You played Overcooked 1.
Yep.
Overcooked 2 is a lot better. It's just more fluid. There's more fun challenges, and you can throw the food. And so the
Whoa.
throwing of the food it just introduces such a difference in gameplay and strategy.
Oh yeah.
And they have a ton of great DLCs. So you can play this game. I had a squad of me and my wife and then 2 other friends. We played it for like a year and a half. They would come over from time to time, and we would play it, and then we finished it. We were 100%ing it, 3-starring everything.
Yeah.
And then the DLC comes out, and then a new one comes out, a new one comes out.
Very cool.
And then only the pandemic stopped us, so we haven't played in a while.
So did you
I would
play
play
Moving Out, you said?
I played Moving Out. My family did not like it. Cedric liked it more than anybody else and me, but I couldn't get anyone to play with me. So I had told my son before this vacation, I said, we're going to play it because I heard you were playing it.
Yeah.
And they have it on Game Pass. And I was like, do you want to play Moving Out? Maybe one day we'll just marathon it.
Yeah.
And we didn't do it, but I still would like to someday. There's still plenty of weekend days with nothing to do. Yeah. So maybe some weekend we will just marathon.
I recommended it. Like I said, I think you guys would have a blast. Just some of the stuff and you have to work together. There's a lot of items that require 2 people to carry it.
Now, are you guys going to try to 100% it? Because
I don't know. But I asked my wife. We might go back. I don't think we're going to try to 100% it, but I might go back and play.
I found that aspect of Moving Out more fun than Overcooked in terms of completion. Because Overcooked, you just have to get 3 stars, and now you do like 4 stars, which are super hard. But Moving Out has individual challenges, like
each level has 3. Correct. Right? Yeah. So correct. There's 3. Missions, and you get coins, and once you get those coins, there's an arcade that you can go to, which unlocks mini games, which are absolutely ridiculous. So you're right, there's incentive to do that. There's a lot to do, but Moving Out is spectacular. I mean, there's one level where it's like a haunted mansion type style, and the furniture comes to life. So like you might go throw a chair in the truck, and then you see like little eyes pop out of the chair, and it runs out of the truck. You're like, no! What? So it's a blast. It's a lot of fun. But what about you?
Yeah, we played a bunch of games that we played together, but I finished. Well, I had seen lists of when people ask what game made you cry more than any, and we've talked about games that make you cry on the show, and I always like going through those lists because I like a game that makes you cry. And the game I kept seeing come up that I had never played or even heard of was To the Moon. And this happens to be a game that came out on Switch. So it's available on Switch. And I've had it on my list for a while. And yeah, I gave it a try. The funny part about To the Moon is if you look at the graphics, it looks like a Super Nintendo RPG style. And I was actually pretty excited to play it because I was like, ooh, it's like a little, retro RPG. But it's not. It's not a retro RPG. It is I would describe it as a story-based game where you kind of solve some puzzles. But the puzzles are more like, what should I do? And then you figure it out. You're not like solving logic puzzles or anything like that. And I won't say that I had a blast playing it. And in fact, the gameplay was a little repetitive, but in that repetition, the story kept bringing you on. And I'll just do high-level story is you and your partner are sort of like part of this team that can change people's memories. So it's kind of like, I think it's like Total Recall, where you can change people's memories. And so there's this old man who's dying, and he wants his everlasting wish is to go to the moon. And you need to basically change his memory so he thinks he went to the moon. And so basically you go into his memories and you go further and further back and you change memories. And those memories will lead him to behave differently. But all of this is sort of in his head. He's still like a guy dying in his bed. So it's kind of like, yeah, obviously it's not very realistic. Just go with it. And and so the story is basically you penetrating his memories and trying to finagle it. And I did cry at the end. I remember the whole game going, how is this game going to make me cry? It's just like this 2D RPG looking game. But I wouldn't say it was like the saddest game I ever played either. But there was definitely like these key moments that were like, wow, that's a really good, story point. So, played
Nice.
To the Moon. So good game. I can't say I'd recommend it, but if you see it on sale, it's worth a try. It's not long. I think it's like 5 hours or something. And then I also played Control on the Xbox. This was the final game that I played on my Xbox One X. Obviously, this game came out to the cloud on Switch. That got me interested in it, but I didn't play it. And then I bought it, and now it's on Game Pass, so I decided to play it. And I had a lot of fun with it. It has a weird story. You're this agent. You have been hired as the director of the Federal Bureau of Control. You spend a lot of your first 10 hours of the game wondering what the fuck is going on. And that's what I didn't like about it. I like a game where I know the story, I know what I'm doing. And most times I was like, what am I doing? Is this imaginary? Is this really happening? What is the goal of this? Am I really a director? Like, is this a dream? But it's a game that has good, like, kind of story parts. There's some shooting aspects. Nothing too complicated on the shooting stuff. Nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the end, it's, you wrap it up. And then I finished it, and I thought, okay, I'm done. And then you kind of come back, and they're like, no, but you're not done. And that's how they sort of introduce, do all the side quests, 100% this game. I played it for a little bit more and then stopped, but I actually might come back to it down the road. Just a lot to play right now, but I might come back to this one. There's some side quests I want to do, and there's some interesting side quests as well. So I'm going to give it a shot, try to get some outfits. It's not a hard game either. There are some challenging parts, but the one thing I'll complain about is when you die in this game, they send you back to the last control point, which is like where you save. And sometimes you can go a long way between control points. Now, when you die and you come back, sometimes the people you killed stay dead. Sometimes they don't.
No
but
reason
they
to.
always send you back to the control point. So you might go back to the control point and be like, oh my God, I have to do that all again. But then you find as you're going back, you're like, oh, I cleared that, I cleared that. But it's just so unnecessary. Like, why are you sending me all the way back to this control point just to make me walk all the way back?
Yeah. That's stupid.
And like I said, sometimes the enemy's back. So it was a good game. I will say it was the consensus 2019 game of the year, which is why I played it. I don't see it. I don't think to me, that's not game of the year material. Didn't make me cry. Didn't have really memorable moments. Didn't have really engaging combat. It was a cool game. And the best thing I can say for it is the power-ups in the game really made you feel amazing. You can like pick up things telepathically and throw them. You can fly. There's like all these power-ups that make you feel really good. But I don't think that should have been 2019 game of the year. So. So that's what I played. Very
cool. So let's talk about some games we've both been playing, John. And let's start off with a game that, let's just say I was super excited for this game. I never played the first one. That's my first problem. So I don't know why I was so excited, but there's something about it. I think it looked like it was supposed to be, known to be difficult, but also easy to play, right? It's, smaller type of levels, easy. I'm going to sit down and play for 20 minutes or so and be done. We're talking about Super Meat Boy Forever. And let me just say off the bat, I fucking hate this game. This game can eat shit. I'm not even exaggerating. This game was more difficult than Cuphead.
You dropped your trousers so fast in this game. You were excited for this game, and I assumed you had played the first game.
No.
And then you said you hadn't played the first game. I was like, oh, dear Lord, I don't think Drew knows how hard this game is. But then I know you played Celeste. So.
I played Celeste. I hate to compare it to this because it's a very weird comparison. But like, one more jump. It's kind of the same concept where you just go. You're hitting one button the whole time, right? So that's what in my mind before I played this. Yeah. I said it's going to be like one more jump with better graphics and more of a story and stuff like that. And essentially, it really is.
No, it's not.
It's similar, but it has a lot more mechanics to it. A
Yes.
lot more.
It's infinitely better than Super One More Jump.
100% agree with you there. It is a better game. Just introduce these different types of mechanics with punching and jumping and double jumps and sliding and there's all different types of mechanics. But I legit got to a part I didn't know what to do. I tried for 20 minutes and I said I'm done. I sent you a video. I sent you a text message.
Yeah. That's the thing I found out about it. Like, you didn't play the first game. The first game was not like this. So the first game is more like a Celeste type game.
Yep.
Very challenging, very tiny levels that are like woven into a world.
Okay.
This game has the same concept of the world, but the levels are much longer, right? Like, you're in a level. Yeah. It's a little bit more like Celeste in that the world it's longer. And they the big change to Super Meat Boy Forever is that it's an auto runner. Your character is always running, so that did not happen in the first game.
So was the first one more like Celeste, where you're moving around, you're wall jumping, but
you
can almost
freely move, yeah.
But did you almost see the whole level on one stream?
No, it usually scrolled, but they were pretty short. Some of them were a little like a path, but these were like levels you were trying to beat in like 12 seconds.
Oh, these ones were not like that at all.
These were like more of a grit, yeah.
And my problem is I have zero problem with a very difficult part of a level where it takes skill, and if I keep dying, it's fine. Like Cuphead. The difference with Cuphead was I knew exactly what I was supposed to do. But there's parts in this game, it happens so fast, it's like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to do. Right. Never mind if it's me having poor platforming skills or whatnot, or my inability. That wasn't the case. I didn't know what to do. There was this one part that you had to, like I showed you, you hit ghosts, and then you go around. You have to like kind of go in a circle, and every time you went in a circle, you progressed. But it was like I just kept going in a circle. I wasn't even dying. I just didn't know what to do.
Right.
So that's the stuff that just really frustrated me.
Yeah, and
boss fights were awful.
You're right. Oh, no, I like the boss battles.
Well, I mean, awfully hard. They weren't terrible. They were just difficult. Okay.
There were, I had some claims. So I did a 30-second review of this. You can find it on our Dads After Dark show channel. I want to say it's better or worse than the first game. The first game was definitely more iconic. I was able to play through this game. I rolled credits on it pretty quickly, actually. Because I'm a big fan of the Super Meat Boy series, and now it's a series, right? Because it's only the second game. But I will say, even though this game has taken forever, I mean, we've been waiting forever on it.
Yeah,
it was not fully baked. It just wasn't fully baked. So I think, there were issues. You showed me a clip where you couldn't get past something. I had the same thing happen twice, and there's definitely parts where I was like, "What am I supposed to do?" And then you figure it out. Yeah. But there were some impossible parts, I think, and I don't want to say guaranteed, but definitely really hard parts. Well, but you can skip that level, so you only had to do 4 levels per world.
Well, so I didn't even
did have the ability to skip
until you told me.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like I want to know how to beat that part. And you look at a Nintendo game like Super Mario, Luigi U, whatever the hell that. The new Mario U is in all those games, where after a while they kind of showed you how to beat the level. Remember that, like assist mode?
Yeah, like Donkey Kong Country had that. Yeah,
but like at least at some point, I know maybe that's not the point of the game, but just show me what I'm supposed to do, or give me the option to hit a button that says hint or something. Because if the game's that difficult, again, I don't care if I died 1,000 times in the level and it's my own fault. That's fine. When you just don't know what to do, it's just frustrating. You want to turn it off, especially when you have another game to play, which I think we've both had many games to play.
I agree. Yeah, I definitely dinged this game because of it. I feel like there's some sections that are not possible. I ran into a bug. I posted a video on our Twitter where you literally get stuck going up the line, and the game is just, you can't get out. And they don't even have like an auto kill button like a lot of games have, where you just press a button and you just die. I still enjoyed it. I still feel like maybe there should be a patch coming to fix some of these issues. The other really big thing, and the last thing I'll say about it, is playing Super Meat Boy is really fun because there's all these unlockables. Like every level has a bandage you need to find. Maybe not every level, but a lot of them. Every world has a couple of warp points that take you to some alternative little mini level. There's so much to do and unlock. Every stage has a dark version, which is a slightly harder version of it. So there's so many levels to play. They're all very small, and you like to replay them because they're short. And you're like, okay.
Yeah,
and
cool.
and also you want to try to do. There's like a time that you want to try to finish the level by. So that's like another achievement. Try to like do all the levels and get the I forgot what they did. It was like an A+ or something like that. This game has some of those things. There are what did you find in the game? Is it bandages or it was the binkies. You had to find the little
yes. I only played 2 worlds, so I didn't make it very far.
But they don't tell you which stages have the binkies. Yeah. If you told me that every stage had it, I wouldn't believe you. And like I'd say they're really hidden. Because most of them, they're just out in the open.
But like you said, also, if you see it and you miss it, like there's no way to just go back. You have to probably play the whole level again.
Well, you either have to kill yourself, or
sometimes
you just can't do that. So you might not be able to. But like, yeah, it's like these levels are so long. I don't want to explore them and look for all of these binkies. But when the levels are really short, you can kind of go through and see if you can find it and then try to do it. So it's a game where I'm still like low in the completion percentage, but between like the bugs and some of the stages, I'm not sure if I can finish them. The other weird thing too is if you have trouble with a stage, you can't go to YouTube and see how to do it because the stages are kind of randomized. And here's the weird part. Like I got to a part in a stage where I couldn't get past it. So I looked it up on YouTube, saw the stage and go, this is not the same stage. It's like randomized. It's different. So I quit the level and I said, I'm going to quit this level and just play it again. And maybe they'll randomize it in a way I can beat it. And I got the same randomization. So somehow they're doing the randomization seed when you start your game or your save file. And it's always the same for you.
That's weird. I tried looking up that part. Yeah, I spent 15, 20 minutes just trying to find it. So I said, it's just, I'm giving up.
It's all randomized. So yeah, I'm going to wait a little bit. I'll probably come back to it in the future and try to complete it. But right now it's, I don't know, a little shaky. Mm-hmm. So what else did we play?
Which one do you want to talk about next, John?
I think we have a lot to talk about the other one. So let's talk about Immortals Fenyx Rising.
Ooh, yes.
This is the game you've been hot on since it was called Gods and Monsters.
Yeah, this is my cup of tea. This game right here is I probably will play 1 or 2 of these styles of games every year. I guess the last one I played was probably Xenoblade.
Yeah.
And I don't mean type. I just mean big open world type RPG-ish type games, right?
Right.
So I probably play 2 of them a year at least. And this is the second one I've played in a while. So absolutely, the graphics, I'm going to say off the bat, are absolutely 100% for me. A+. This is the type of graphics I want on every game. The reason why Wind Waker still looks so fabulous today. It's just I prefer this type of art style versus like the realistic Witcher type art style. Now, there's nothing wrong with the Witcher or these realistic style games, but I think that's just the Nintendo boy in me and always loving these types of things. Graphics have never been an issue for me, so that right off the bat is awesome.
Right.
Overall, first impressions. Let's just talk about first impressions right now with the game. I think is fine. And then we'll continue more as time goes on throughout this episode and in future episodes, because I think we both have a lot more to explore. A lot of people have mixed feelings, I guess you could say, about the story and how it's presented. I love it. I don't know about you, but it's narrated the whole time. And it's really a narration of you playing as a story. It's a little confusing, John. You even said you had to almost rewatch the video sequence to see.
I did.
Miss something?
Yeah, it's Zeus and the other guy. And he's telling a story. And Prometheus.
Yep.
He's telling a story, and you are just controlling the character in the story. And I had asked you, and as you play, you can hear him narrating the story from time to time. And it's funny. I like the way they do it. But I said to you, is this a story he's telling right now? Or is this something that happened and he's telling the story of it? And I watched the opening cutscene again, and I still don't know.
No, it's weird because he says he makes a bet with Zeus, right? And he's, obviously Prometheus, this is not a spoiler, guys. He's chained, right? Zeus chained him up, right? And I won't even tell you why. He's chained up. And he makes a deal with Zeus and says, I bet you that Phoenix will, I bet you this story that Phoenix does A, B, and C. And if it's true, you have to release me. And he's like, deal. And then all of a sudden, he just starts telling the story. The story is the game you're playing. So I'm like, I don't understand. If you're making up the story, of course Phoenix is going to do A, B, and C because you're telling the story. So I'm confused on how it's happening. But
I started diving into mythology to see like, is this guy like tell stories that come true? Like, I don't know. Eventually I stopped looking because I don't want to like get a spoiler on the game. There might be something at the end which will tie it all together. So I don't really want to know.
Will be. But it's comical. I love the style of that. Now, as far as the gameplay goes, they throw a lot at you, I feel like, in the beginning, and maybe that was just me, but
just you.
A lot with you get a lot of weapons early on, right? You don't just get like a sword. You get a sword and a hammer and a bow all within the first few hours of the game. Like, I thought it would kind of build up a little bit more knowing it's such a big game. But then I was okay with it. I was kind of glad. Also, where was I going with this? So, I mean, first of all of the weapons, let's start with there. Are you a sword or axe guy?
I just use the sword primarily, and then I'll use the axe from time to time.
Really?
I do want to clarify, though, this game, we haven't said it, is a Breath of the Wild clone job. This is the most shameless rip-off of a game I've seen, but it has a whole different story around it. And when you say that you got a bunch of weapons early in the game, to me, that's just like the Great Plateau, where they give you all of your main weapons, even though they're mostly like skills.
Yeah.
They give them to you very early in the game. And then it's like, okay, now go explore, because it's an open world game. And once you get off that first island, just like the Great Plateau, you can kind of go wherever you want to go. There's a main quest thread. So that's a little different. There's like a series of quests you need to do. But you can kind of go explore and anywhere you want to and do a bunch of side quests and stuff like that. So to me, I was okay with that because that's how Breath of the Wild was.
But speaking of that, we talked about the elephant in the room here with going onto a high tower, right, and locking in, or what do they call it?
Focusing
or So essentially, you have to roam the world. You go up. You didn't do it anywhere in the world, by the way. You didn't do it a foot off the ground or 1,000 feet off the ground on top of a statue. And you try to zoom in and you scan the world with your Joy-Con, which this would be a perfect time to have built in whatchamacallit, the motion control. But you essentially have to wait till the controller vibrates, and then it says like push ZR to reveal, and you reveal like a hidden chest or health upgrades or like a rift or a dungeon. It's just really weird concept, right, John? So I mean that part does blow in many ways.
I don't mind it, actually. I didn't
mind it at first. At first, I really didn't mind it, but eventually you do it a lot. I don't know how far you are into this game.
I'm not too far. I'm like 6 hours in, but when you play Breath of the Wild, you kind of look for things and you can put down markers.
Correct.
So you can see stuff, but then you got to kind of juggle it in your head. In this game, you see it, the controller shakes, and then it just automatically marks it on your map, which I think is kind of great because it's like you can just look around.
What do you mean automatically marks it on your map?
Well, you search around, your controller rumbles, right? Yep. You press the lock-on button, and then it like marks it. And then as you're adventuring in the world, you see it show up in the little radar on the top.
But
and if
you
go
also
to your map, you'll see it.
You have to pinpoint this thing. So when you're moving around with a Joy-Con, and it's like you're close, but you're not there yet, and then you touch the Joy-Con, you go too far. It's not very. And again, you're not playing this on the Switch, are you?
No, this is my first Series X game.
So I don't know.
I don't know how it plays.
Concept. But
I don't know how it plays on the Switch, but
you have to be dead on. And I feel like there's times I spend 10 to 15 seconds trying to lock on that reveal, which seems not like a lot, but it is when you're revealing 30 to 50 things.
Exactly. It might be a little better on the Series X because the frame rate's higher, but it's still hard. I kind of like waft around until I feel it, and I just try to settle in, and I just keep hitting the trigger really quickly. And so sometimes I'll nail it. But you're right. It's not. The thing about it is I like that it puts this stuff on your map. I don't like the fact that you're just going to sit there and really try to find everything before you go. So it's like 5 minutes of your life is just sitting there trying to track these things down. I kind of wish they just, when you get to a point, it'll just unlock all of the things, and that's it.
Yes and no. So here's what it does. I do like it, but here's what it does, whether it's good or bad, is it makes me not explore the world.
Right.
Like I would in Breath of the Wild. I only explore stuff that I've already identified on the map.
Exactly.
I won't just go explore and find random stuff.
Yep.
So that's the bad part of it. But overall, I think the game is going to be talking about this next few episodes. I'm about 20 hours in, I'd say, maybe 15 to 20. So, but there's a lot more to talk about. One more game, though, we do need to talk about before we move on, John. Dicey Dungeons. Oh, my. Who knew this game would be so amazing? It
is. So I played Slay the Spire, and I regard Slay the Spire as one of my favorite games of all time. This game, I don't know if it's ripped it off, because I don't know the genre too well, but it is, if you played Slay the Spire, Dicey Dungeons is so familiar to you. And the difference is, I mean, really there's not much of a difference. The only difference is Slay the Spire has cards. Dicey Dungeons also has cards, but you apply a random roll of the dice to dictate how powerful those cards are.
Yep.
And that's really it. You crawl through these dungeons, and instead of having, like, in Slay the Spire, there's like 4 characters, and you beat the game, and then you unlock ascensions, and then you can keep doing each more progressively difficult ascension all the way up to, I don't know what it is, 13 or 20 or whatever. This game has episodes, and each episode is so different from the other episodes, right? And it's a really fun game. There's 6 characters. They force you to just sort of like go through the first 5 really quickly. I think it was funny when Jesse started talking about this game. He was like about to beat it on his first run, and he thought he was like going to clear the game on his first try, and then realized, no, there's like 36 runs you have to do in the game. So I have to say, early on, I really enjoyed it. And then I hit this point where I go, oh, this game is not, it can't hold a candle to Slay the Spire. And I'll explain why in a second.
Yep.
But I found that I'm like totally addicted to this game. I've been playing it for the last 3 days, just nonstop. And I think the reason why is Slay the Spire is incredibly hard to me. And Slay the Spire, a run could take you like an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Yeah, this is like, what, 30 minutes?
Yeah, like this is like 20 to 30 minutes. All the levels are pretty much the same. You get sort of used to the style, you know your strategy when you're going through it, like try to unlock the heart area so you have an out, you know, things like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But I find that I like the fact that it is a little simpler. The other thing is, in Slay the Spire, when you pass each level, you get a reward. In this game, you don't get a reward when you pass every level. Sometimes you get a reward. But in Slay the Spire, every time you pass a level, you get to pick a card to add to your deck. And so you're just constantly like, beat a level, add a card, beat a level, add a card. And there's such a variety to the deck you can build. You can really put together strategies. In this game, what I find is they don't give you enough of those. And if you do the same episode over and over, a lot of the same items just keep appearing. There's clearly like, you need to figure out the strategy with the small pool of items that are available to you.
Agreed.
And it kind of makes it a little stale at times where you're like, oh my God, like, I'm not going to run across this like crazy thing. Every so often you come across something weird. Like I died 6 times on a run, and then finally they let me have an extra dice.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that the runs are short, and I can almost like auto tune them out. I know like when I level up, I'm going to refill my health and stuff like that. So even though the games are very similar, they're 2 different styles, and I appreciate being able to play multiple runs and Dicey just a lot quicker. It's really fun, though. The episodes, what I find interesting about the episodes is they change the rules so much. Even between the episodes, even though you're using the same character and a lot of the same skills, your strategy gets so different.
Gives it a good change of pace. It's just the perfect game to sit on the couch while your wife's watching a TV or a movie and you're handing out. It's the perfect handheld game. I agree. I have almost 40 hours into this game already, John. And I have, I think, 6 episodes left. I had a good run today, but I'm curious to find out what happens after this. If there's something else.
Yeah, nobody in our community has gotten there yet. I know Hambo and Johnny's getting close.
There's 6 characters, but there's a 7th die if you look after the last character.
Oh, really?
But it's not a character. I don't know what it is.
Oh, there's a Lady Luck. So if you look at the challenges, the last challenge says defeat Lady Luck. So I don't know.
To go fight. Yeah.
I don't know what that looks like or what character you do it as. Maybe you get to pick whichever character you want. Yep. I don't know what it looks like, but yeah, like I think after you beat all the episodes, you have to actually fight Lady Luck, and then the fucking wheel will actually land on something.
Yes,
that joke. Wait, that joke is so overdone at this point. It's
I love it.
Christ,
I love it.
Like, oh my God.
The whole point of the game, right, is you're trying to escape the dungeon, and Lady Luck tells you if you beat an episode, we'll spin the magic wheel, and if it lands on a star, you can leave the dungeon. And the whole wheel is stars besides one little triangle. And that one triangle is a skull and says stay in the dungeon. So every time you beat an episode, you spin the wheel, and every time it lands on the skull. Right. I'm waiting for the day I did a star. So.
Yeah.
Dicey Dungeon, folks, absolutely, you gotta pick it up. It's fairly
must play. Some people won't like it. It's a strategy game, but it's an absolute must play. It's so addicting. It's really fun.
It is. So let's move on, John, to our top 10 this week.
Number 10.
What did we get for Christmas? That, folks, is number 10. John, why don't we start with you?
Usually I get a bunch of games and stuff like that, but I have so many games, there was nothing I wanted. Sure. I did buy myself the Series X. It showed up the day after Christmas. I can't complain. It was supposed to show up January 11th. So I got it 16 days early, so that was nice. I got a bunch of Nintendo shirts this year, which is good because I don't think I got any new clothes for the entire pandemic. And then in terms of games, I bought myself a big fat Xbox credit, whatever, like, one of those cards.
Yep.
And then I got a Pikmin stuffy. It was a Captain Oliver stuffy.
Yeah, nice.
And yeah, I mean, like, usually I would get a bunch of games. I often will give like eBay listings to my wife to like get me like retro stuff or whatever. And this time around, no, not really. Not much in the gaming department. How about you?
Yeah, you were referring to when you said stuffy plushie, because I am the plushie king, as you know. I am looking to my left here at my 37 Nintendo plushies that I have. And they're just the small little stuffed animals. They range anywhere from like 4 inches to about 12 inches, which is also my range in bed. But I did get a new one this year, a plushie, not my bed item, but I got the
plushie,
the black Yoshi I got this year, which is he's pretty cool. Really like him. I then went out and treated myself, which I think I showed you, John. I got 3 new ones. I bought 3 new ones. The third one you didn't see yet, didn't come in. I bought myself kind of like the Dry Bones Bowser. The Dry Bowser, is that the call him? Dry Bowser.
Yeah.
I bought myself him. He's awesome. He's a big boy. I bought Lemmy, the Koopalins, Lemmy Koopa.
Yeah.
The one with like the rainbow hair, and he has his little.
He's supposed to be like the Iggy Pop of the group, right?
And then I also bought Spiny, the little Buzzy Beetle guy with the spikes on him.
Okay.
So I got those. I'm a big fan of those guys. But I also got some retro Nintendo controller socks. Wearing them now, actually. I got 2 Mario Odyssey little puzzles. They're small ones, like 200-piece puzzles. I got Fenyx Rising. I got that as well.
From the mother-in-law?
Yep. And another one I got that I was unexpected was I got some nice wireless earbuds from the wife, which super excited for.
Nice.
But yeah, that was my
Which
Christmas.
You're not wearing right now. You've got your big headphones on.
It's weird. I tried connecting them to my laptop, and it worked for sound, but it wouldn't the speaker wasn't working. But like it was something to do with my laptop, I think, because it works fine on my phone. But I don't know. I'm not a big tech savvy guy, so that's all.
Well, Merry Christmas.
Number 9.
All right, Christmas is over. Here's something I like to do. Do you have any New Year's resolutions, Drew?
You know, I don't believe in it. I'm not going to lie. I'm not a New Year's resolution type of guy.
Really?
You know, if I want to start something new, I should just fucking do it. And I don't know why I have to wait till January 1st to do it. I mean, I've been telling
behavior.
You know, I was doing so good. I lost like 15 pounds. This was like beginning of the pandemic. I lost like 15 pounds. I was on the treadmill every day, exercising, doing stuff. And then I'll tell you what, the pandemic fucked me because I had a schedule. Like I go into work like at 5 o'clock and I would leave work every day at like 2:30, get home at 3. I'd go like work out for like an hour, take a quick shower, and then go pick up my kid from school. But like that whole thing is fucked now because I'm working from home part of the time. My kids like sometimes in school, sometimes at home, and it's just like my whole. I'm trying to get back into that, but it's just difficult.
Yeah.
But no, what about you?
That's a roundabout way. I am the opposite of you. I find the new year is like a fresh start, and there's things that I can't get myself to do. But January 1st. I started my January 1st doing like a 1-hour elliptical run. I don't know why. I was like, it's January 1st. You know, obviously everyone's first resolution is I need to get in better shape. And, you know, the pandemic, we've all been locked down and we all, you know, have some new hope for 2021. So, yeah, I started watching Princess Mononoke. You're a Studio Ghibli guy? I'm not sure.
I know you are.
I'm a huge Studio Ghibli guy. And that was a movie that I tried to watch some time ago and we got bored. I lost the thread of it. And I always wanted to watch it again because a lot of people say it's their favorite. So, yeah, I spent an hour on the elliptical watching Princess Mononoke. And I was like, I can't believe I just did an hour on the elliptical, but I'll never do that again. And then I did it on day 2. So I was like,
is
okay.
This elliptical something you've always had, or is this new for this year?
Yeah. And I usually do 20 minutes on the elliptical. I'm just like, I've got games to play, I've got things to do. I don't have the time.
I thought about this the other day, right? Because you told me you were doing this, and I said I need to get back on the treadmill. I think we need to find a game, a Switch game, that can be played while exercising.
I've done that before.
There's going to be like, I thought about Dicey Dungeons. I'm like, that's a little hard, so I need to read and focus. I need almost like, not Super Meat Boy because it's so hard, but like, something I just push a button or two, and I don't have to do too much. That's what I need.
Grindy RPGs. I've done that where I've gone downstairs and just grinded. Like I stayed in an area, walked around, and just kept fighting enemies and grinded.
Okay.
I've done it. I think I was playing. Was it Xenoblade or I think it was Xenoblade 2. I would like sometimes those cutscenes would go on for 15 minutes. So I'd get up to a cutscene and I'd go, "Ooh, I'm going to jump on the elliptical and watch this cutscene while I'm working out." And there would be times where I would do a whole workout and not even really even play.
But I mean, think about it. The Switch is perfect for this, right? Because if I were to go take this and I take the 2 Joy-Cons off and I can put them in my hands and I can run. I'm running, I'm jogging on a treadmill. If it's a minimal effort game, it's easy. I don't have to hold the Switch. I don't have to do any. I can just hold the 2 Joy-Cons. You know, jog and push a button or two.
Exactly. No, there are games you can do. I don't think any of the games we're playing are that game. Dicey, I thought about it because I was so addicted to Dicey Dungeons, but you just want to sit there and focus and think. You can't do it.
Well, at some of these harder levels, one mistake causes you the whole run.
Well, I've done 3 1-hour workouts every day so far this year. I'm going to see how long I can keep it up, but I wouldn't say it's a resolution. I have some resolutions in terms of my work, and I'm a software developer, and I want to read more materials on higher level concepts, stuff like that. Nothing interesting that we're going to talk about here. And then I have some gaming resolutions, mostly games that I want to get back to and finish or complete. I'm going to put together a list of some of that, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later.
Well, John, I'm rooting for you on all of them.
Yeah, it's a fresh start, man.
Number 8.
So Doug Bowser did an interview with Polygon recently, and he said a lot of interesting things. I don't think we need to get into this, but if you go look at Polygon, you can see what he said. Mm-hmm. And he's like, he's president of the, North American Nintendo company, Nintendo America. And he said, they asked him about the Switch Pro, and he said, we believe we're just at the midpoint of this life cycle on the platform. And he said that there would not be a Switch Pro in 2021. Now, this is obviously marketing speak. We don't know. We've been given guarantees before. We've been told by Nintendo that the Nintendo DS was a different product line than the Game Boy Advance. We were told the Switch is not replacing the Wii U. Like, they say these things all the time. And clearly, if they had the plan to release an updated Switch, they wouldn't tell you when that was going to be, because then everybody would not buy the Switch.
Correct.
But what do you think about that? Do you think Nintendo should release a Switch Pro this year? Or do you think that they can go a couple years? And most importantly, do you think the Switch Pro will be an iteration of the hardware? Or the Switch Pro would be like the next console that has backwards compatibility but has its own exclusive games?
I mean, we could talk about this for days, but it's such a tricky question. And to your point that you hit it earlier with the marketing, thing, that is so true. It should just not be called the Switch Pro. So is there a Switch Pro coming? No. There's a Switch Plus coming, though. It's so hard to say that. Here's my thing. Should or do I think Switch Pro is coming this year? I think Nintendo needs to do something within the next month or two. Let's say by the end of February. They need a direct of some sort. If it's not the Switch Pro, I need to see a nice lineup of games, because we really don't have that right now, right? And I think it's got to be coming sooner than later.
Right.
And I think we need to see the lineup of games. And then we'll go from there. I mean, as far as what I want or what I think the Switch Pro would be, I don't know. I mean, what do we really need that the Switch can't do? Graphics? Hardware?
We need better hardware. Yeah, and I think it's evident, like, having played the Series X for like a week now. Just remember this. The Switch, when the Switch came out, it did not perform as well as, let's just say, the Xbox One.
Mm-hmm.
Then they put the Xbox One X out. Now the Series X is out. So there are 3 iterations of just the Xbox that have better performance than the Switch.
But Nintendo has never really done that. They've never really put an upgraded version of a console out.
They have. The only one I can think of is the 3DS. Remember when they put out the new 3DS? That actually was a little bit more performant than the older one.
Well, remember also you get N64 had the little expansion pack where you took out like legit like the RAM and put in the other one. And, it would. I think there was like 1 or 2 games that required it, but
I don't think the games were faster or anything.
No,
it was just you needed it.
It's funny because your point earlier. This week you sent me a text message with the video of.
Was it the dick pic I sent you?
Oh. No, that's just for me and you. But anyways, you sent me a video of Fenyx Rising. If you said this is the average person, they would have said, John, what am I looking at? And all it was like you walked into like a rift, it showed a loading screen, and then you popped into the rift, and then that was it. And I knew exactly what it was before you even sent your next text message. You said, how is the loading time compared to the Switch? And you were in that loading screen where he's like flying, the character's flying to the rift for what, 3 seconds?
You didn't even get a chance to read the little tooltip, the little hints.
Well, let me tell you, in the Switch version, it's like 25 to 30 seconds long every time. And it's to the point where you can actually move your character and fly around the screen and stuff. You probably don't even witness. So
I didn't even notice you could do that for quite a while, yeah.
Yes. So to your point is, will we see Switch ever, a good example is upgrade their hardware to see stuff like that? My direct answer to that question would be no. We will not see that on a Switch.
That would be a big mistake. I think it'd be a big mistake, and
a waste of money in my eyes. I just
no, not at all.
I don't know.
Here's why. Here's why. And you have to be careful with it. But I think I said this in the last episode. The PS5 and the Xbox. This is the first generation where there are 2 SKUs for the console, right? PS5 has the digital and non-digital. And they're the same console, but one doesn't take discs. Xbox, the Series X is more powerful than Series S. And the Series S doesn't have a disk drive, but there's a $200 difference. So they're offering a $300 version of the new hardware. But the Series X is more powerful. Nintendo needs to adopt that. Plus, the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X came out. So again, in the last generation was the first time where we saw the iteration of the hardware. I think Nintendo needs to do that because there are people who don't buy the Nintendo because they see it as a less powerful system right off the bat.
Yes, but Nintendo's been making consoles for 35 years, John. In those 35 years of consoles, when has it ever tiered or when has it ever adapted to what the market is doing? And I know this is a little bit, the times are different. We can say that. But the times were different then, too, because of the technology was advancing so quickly. Nintendo was just not in that market.
But here's where you're wrong, Drew. Remember, from the Nintendo to the Super Nintendo to the N64 to the GameCube, every generation Nintendo sold less consoles. Then they had the Wii, and then the Wii U was a disaster, okay? So they were selling less and less consoles because back in the old days, they didn't have competition. The Sega didn't compete until the Genesis, and then they had trouble competing because the NES was competing against the Genesis until the Super Nintendo came out.
But to your point there, you're saying once the competition came out, I feel like that's when they actually had skyrocketed consoles with the Wii and even the Switch.
The Wii is the only successful hardware that actually increased until the Switch. It was like basically like NES.
I think the Wii U is exactly what you're talking about. The Wii U they tried to push up the advancement of the next console, which they should have waited. The Wii U was the Switch, just years too early.
No.
Right? Yes.
The Wii stopped selling towards the end of that lifetime. They had to put out the Wii U.
But it wasn't ready.
Oh, I mean, I don't know if the Wii U wasn't ready, but
the technology wasn't ready.
The Wii was like the sales were dying on the Wii towards the end. I mean, the graphics were laughably.
Yes, I don't disagree, but I mean, I think the whole Wii U concept was too early, right? Let's be honest.
I think the Wii U was like the Switch. People wanted a Switch, and they didn't do that.
Correct.
They got this messy thing, but it's 2021 now, and why should Nintendo cede a whole section of the market that would normally just buy a Nintendo console, but they don't? I mean, it's the reason why I get an Xbox, because I need something that's more powerful to play a kind of a set of games. And look, I mean, I looked at a Let's Play of Fenyx Rising, and if you just play Fenyx Rising on Switch, you can say, okay, this game looks good or whatever. When you see it on a Series X and then look at it on a Switch, it's like a joke. And and that's not how people play, right? You play it on a console, on a system, and you go. But the Series X is going to crush it, and all of these games are going to get advanced. And why can't Nintendo just offer two versions of the console? Look, you don't have to offer twice the assets or anything like that, but have a console that can at least perform and maybe give you that rock solid 30 frames a second. Or maybe you can have it so that you might get better frame rate.
I don't disagree. I don't see it happening. It's not going to happen. Here's what's going to happen: is January, February, we're going to direct. It's going to show our lineup for the year, and that's it. I don't know. As much as I want it in a way, I just don't see a track record of Nintendo doing it. Now, if Nintendo surprises us and they start to change their business model, then I think that's the only way it happens. And maybe they need to adapt to the future. But I don't know. The stock has never been higher. People are loving Nintendo. It's fats are fats. I mean, I don't think they're going to get too risky here. That's very risky for a company that's doing very well. They're focusing on theme parks, film, media, merchandise. I think they're happy and content where they are. They're not going to push their limits and overdo something and spend millions and millions of dollars of research and development for something to fail. They're not ever going to be able to compete with those other two systems.
I don't like business, Drew. I want gamers back.
That's my eyes. I don't see it happening.
Number 7.
Games you play with your wife, or necessarily what types of games does your wife play? Maybe what type of games do you guys play together? Do you ever see your wife kind of browsing over and looking at, hey, what are you playing? What is this game? It's funny because Dicey Dungeons I've been playing for 40 hours in the last 2 weeks, and my wife's like, I don't even understand this game. I was like, have you ever sat down and watched it? She's like, no, I just don't get it. It looks weird. But meanwhile, she 100% Harry Potter Lego. So, what games do I like to play? It's funny.
Not you. We're talking about your wife.
Well, okay.
Always about yourself, Drew. Always
Well,
about yourself.
She likes to play Lego games, John. It's funny. After Harry Potter Lego, she beat. I kind of felt guilty, and I'm like, well, do I let her download like another game? And I'm like, no, because then that takes time away from my Switch. So I got her some puzzles, and she did it. She's done. In the last 7 days, she did a 500-piece puzzle, a 1,000-piece puzzle, another 1,000-piece puzzle, and a 200-piece and a 200-piece puzzle. She's just a killer. She kills puzzles.
Is she doing this because you're playing Dicey Dungeons in the corner?
I hide in the corner.
You might want to interact with your wife a little bit, Drew.
I tried. We tried playing a board game the other day. It was too complicated for us. We folded. What about you?
My wife plays Animal Crossing, and that's seemingly, she's played Animal Crossing. Remember that little monthly Nintendo thing that comes out? It tells you how many hours you've played and how many games you've played.
Yep.
She was like at a pretty impressive 700 hours for the year, which was like, wow.
That's higher than me.
She's come a long way, but she had only played 12 games.
Oh,
and that just shocked me. It was like, oh my God, 12?
What was your number?
She's played 600 something hours of Animal Crossing.
Oh, jeez.
And then every so often she'll play a game, and it's usually something that's cute. So whenever Nintendo does their presentations, we always watch it together. We watch it live. And she's like, she doesn't look at games at ooh, is that a strategic game or whatever? She's just like, oh, that's cute. Those characters are cute. I want to play that one.
And you're like that. You're not going to like it.
I know I have to kind of warn her and say, well, I don't know about that one. She played The Last Campfire. That was the last game she took a small break from Animal Crossing to play. She really loved Hollow Knight. And the funny thing is, and it's kind of sad, we used to play co-op games more often. And then we played Overcooked, the first one, and I think I got a little too excitable. And, people always joke about how it, Overcooked ruins marriages. And, I think we got in that territory. So we played Overcooked 2 with friends because there's a nice little buffer there, right? But there's, some games like Poo Day. Do you remember that one? It's it's like a little sun and a little rock, and there's, a whole story. Nope. And it's a co-op game. Okay. And I always wanted to play that with her, and we just never have. She has it downloaded. At night, we watch Netflix, and I don't know. I think she feels like I'm a little over demanding or whatever when we play co-op. So,
well, you probably get a little angry.
Yeah, but she loves games with adorable characters.
My wife is actually a big Sonic person, and I think that's because of her brothers growing up. But she likes playing Sonic. We have the Sega Classic game. She'll play Sonic every once in a while. She also loves games actually she's a huge fan of Earthbound. That's her favorite game of all time, which I have the NES Super Nintendo console version of it, so she'll play that. She also, do you remember the PC games? You ever play the Day of the Tentacle? I think it was the sequel to Maniac Mansion, but it was never on a console.
Yes, they've actually made that for console these days.
Do they?
But I never, it's on Game Pass, and I think it's on PlayStation, and I don't know if
don't
it's
tell
on
my
Switch.
wife that. It's not.
But I've never played through is it Maniac Mansion, right?
That's the first one.
I want to play that game so bad. They have it on NES.
Yeah.
I really want to play through it, so I haven't played Day of the Tentacle.
You would love it. I mean, it has that whole King's Quest stuff that you love, and then
it's point and click. But I love those games.
Yeah, so that's what she likes to play.
You should. I just want to say, you should. Have you ever seen Thimbleweed Park?
She played that actually on the Wii U. She played that on the Wii U.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Monkey Island. That's the same people, I believe.
Yeah, and Thimbleweed Park. It's such an amazing job.
Yeah, she played that. We did. That was on the Wii U. Believe it or not, I think that came out on. Okay. Anywho.
Number 6.
How would you fix it? This is one of the topics that we introduced last episode or so, where we take an old school game, and we kind of just discuss it as far as would we tweak it, the mechanics, the gameplay, or what we think about it. This week we need to thank Ubicel, right?
Mm-hmm.
The one that deal with this one, and we're going to go with the classic Duck Hunt. John, tell us about Duck Hunt, and what do you think about the mechanics of it, and would you change anything?
Duck Hunt was one of those launch games with the NES. You played with a zapper. I think everybody's played it or seen it or whatever. And I think Duck Hunt is a great candidate for how would you fix it, because I think it has the same problem that maybe people don't want to confess to, which is, it's really fun to play for like 2 minutes, and then it gets immediately just the same thing over and over and over again. The dog laughs at you. And then you get to like level 6, level 7, you die, and then you go, okay, let me play again. And after like a couple levels, you're like, you know what, I'm good. I think I've had enough here. So I think, Drew, the key question is, how can you make Duck Hunt a game that you want to play for longer than 5 minutes?
Well, I mean, back then, I think you could have done some simple things. Correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't played Duck Hunt in a long time, so maybe I'm already out speaking this, but I just remember the very distinct level design, right? You have the tree. Is that what you would call it?
The tree is just perfectly placed.
The perfectly placed tree with the different heights of the grass. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. It doesn't matter what level you go to. That does not change, does it?
No, it's the same thing. There's no
the duck patterns change.
New ducks.
They need to change that. In at least a start of something. I will say I do love the clay shooting mode. That was a nice little added feature.
Yeah.
But no, you could do anything with it. I mean, you could put targets and different types of, something. It doesn't have to be just a bird or clays. I mean, there's so much easier other stuff, different backgrounds.
You ever play Hogan's Alley?
What's that?
You ever play Hogan's Alley? That's another NES
game. Yep.
I think Hogan's Alley is a great example of what Duck Hunt could do, where you're these people are spinning around, and then sometimes it's criminal, sometimes it's an innocent person, and you have to shoot the criminals, not the innocent people. And I think that with Duck Hunt, you're just shooting the ducks. They come out in the same place, they get faster, they have different patterns. You can even control one of the ducks with the other controller, but in the end, it's just the same thing over and over and over again. And as soon as it gets just a little bit hard, you start holding the zapper like really close to the TV because you're going to totally cheat on it this time. And that's the problem. It's the same thing over and over again. But wouldn't it be cool if like maybe the ducks they don't get faster. Maybe there's just other stuff that comes on the screen. Maybe there's some other interference, or like maybe there's some like regular birds you're not allowed to shoot because they're an endangered species. Or maybe the ducks just do different things. Like, I think having some variety in gameplay. I agree with you. The clay shooting thing is a different way to play.
Yeah.
But really, that's it, and it's just the same game. Like, I would rather play a Hogan's Alley or some of the Chiller and some of the other games that have some different elements in there. I would definitely, instead of just shooting two ducks, I would just put a few more things on the screen. I'm sure they were prevented from doing too much because of technology. I just have some penalties, and not just so binary. Did you shoot the ducks or did you not shoot the ducks?
I hear you. No, I agree.
That's what I want to say. It's a good game. It's a good game, but it's just not a game that you're going to go back to again and again. And if you have if you have it set up, like I have it set up on TV right now, like, some kids come over and you're like, hey, you want to play this game? And the first time they play it, they're like, oh, this is so cool. But yeah, it's not a game you're going to play.
You have it set up right now?
I have an NES hooked up to a CRT, and I have my zapper, so I could play Duck Hunt. And if I showed it to my kids right now, I guarantee you they would play for like maybe 30 minutes. And then they would get bored,
and they would freeze.
And then they would never want to play it again. Yeah.
30 minutes? That's not bad. That's entertaining.
Maybe combined.
So 10 minutes a
There's 3 of them. Yeah, it's a 10-minute average. All right, there we go.
All right.
I think we fixed Duck Hunt, Drew.
That's it.
It's all fixed.
Number 5.
All right, Indie World put out their games of the year. These are the top selling games. They didn't do them in a particular order. They did a little video and showcase them. I'm going to go through the list and keep a running count, Drew, as I go, how many of these games you've played.
Okay.
So
Probably
the games are, again, they're not in sales order. Hades, Streets of Rage 4, Spiritfarer, Moving Out, I think we just talked about that one, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Carry On, What the Golf, Crosscode, Curse of the Moon 2, and Neon Abyss. How many have you played?
3.
Not bad.
3. Yeah.
And I think this was Nintendo's way of highlighting the indies, which they have been really great on.
Yeah, I agree.
Most of these games were. I played 5 of these games.
I don't feel
and
I
definitely want to play Spiritfarer and Curse of the Moon 2. I'm just waiting for
the other ones. You probably played. Well, I know you played Ori.
Ori, which is my game of the year.
Spiritfarer, did you say you played or no?
I actually do want to play Spiritfarer. I'm waiting for a sale.
Streets of Rage. I mean, I played one of them. I feel like I played all of them. They're just new graphics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, I've actually played 6 of these games because I did play Moving Out.
So let's talk about the elephant in the room here. Did you play What the Golf?
A lot of elephants in this room. Yes, I did play What the Golf.
How and when and where?
It is on Apple Arcade, and we got Apple Arcade. And I was on the pooper, and I keep waiting on Grindstone. I want to play Grindstone, but I'm like, not yet. I want to finish Dicey Dungeons before I do Grindstone. And I was like, oh, What the Golf? Let me try. And because I remember you played this game, and you are a golf fucking nut, and you hated this game. So I decided to play it. Drew, I know exactly why you hate this game. And for the same reasons, I also do not like it.
Yes.
They advertise this game as the golf game for people who don't like golf. I'm not a golf lover, but I enjoy arcade-style golf games. I liked Golf Story. I like playing the NES games.
Golf is fantastic.
I like the Clubhouse.
Yes.
I don't like the newer ones. I don't like the Tiger Woods or the 3D ones. I don't like those.
I don't either, actually. I support that.
Yeah. But it's What the Golf is just a series of jokes where they make you swing and then something random flies and then it's like, ooh, you're swinging and the golf club is going in the air. Oh, and it's a couch. And when the couch hits the hole, and you don't even have to hit the items into the hole, you just have to hit the pin.
It's weird.
And the couch goes and it goes, ouch, and it puts a C in front of it. It's like, okay, like it was funny the first 2 little mini levels, and these are really short levels. There's no shot count, not in any of the levels I've played.
There's nothing. You just hit the flag, and let me remind you, John, I beat this game.
Yeah, and then you go back to this hub world, and you go to the next thing. It's just a series of puns. Is all it really is.
Did not enjoy. Thank you for making me remember this game. I kind of put it out of my memory, and but I'm glad that I'm not the only one that disliked it.
You said you could like 100% it. I was like, you should try to 100% it, and now I'm like, oh god, that would be horrible.
Thank you.
Yeah, yep. I don't know. Anyway, but like, indie games are great, and I'm really glad that Nintendo kind of promotes this stuff. I definitely want to get to Spiritfarer, and like I said, when Curse of the Moon 2 gets physical, I'll be buying the collector's edition for sure. I was a little scared that Crosscode was on here. That was a game that got a lot of buzz when it came out, and I absolutely fucking hated it. I quit playing after 2 hours. Huh. If you want a game to handhold and dialogue you to death, Crosscode is your game. I mean, it is just constant. They don't let you do shit for 2 hours as they teach you balls for 2 hours. It's unreal. But apparently that was one of the top sellers this year. Yeah, play Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and then play it again.
I know. I need to play the first one, right?
You got to play them in order, yeah.
Number 4.
Things that brought you joy in 2020. I need to thank Marty Estes for this one, who over in Discord kind of started the conversation with this one, and I thought it was a really clever, cool idea. It was such a depressing year of 2020. It was nice to see everybody just kind of mention things that they enjoyed in 2020. So I thought it would be a cool idea, John, if me and you just, random things. If you want to say one, if you want to say 10, just throw out some ideas of things that kind of made you happy in 2020. And if I say something that you want to stop and ask me a question on what, and I'll do the same for you. So I'm going to lead off. Coffee, big coffee drinker. I drink, believe it or not, 3 to 5 cups of coffee per day. I love coffee. Yeah, I just enjoy it.
In fact, every time we're about to record, it always starts with you sending me a message going, brewing some coffee, and then I'll be ready. Although today you said tea.
Yeah,
so
I had like 3
maybe
cups.
You had a New Year's resolution or something like that.
No, nope. Just changed it up. I have like a tea like once a month. And today was the day.
Nice.
You know what else? I had a cup of coffee at like 6 o'clock, and then it was like 8 o'clock, and I was like, I'll go with tea. I just had one.
Tea is like diet coffee.
Yeah, I agree. That's a great comparison.
0 calorie coffee.
I'm thankful for podcasting. It's fun to hang out with you, every 2 weeks, and we kind of just talk video games, and I get to, talk Disney and my other podcasts every week, and just it's a nice relaxing hobby that, for one, is kind of like a free hobby, and it's not too time consuming.
Oh my God, true. I listened to the show. I mean, like, you guys must do so much more prep than we do. It's insane. You're like, just in case you don't listen to the Disney guys uncensored, Drew has a thing he likes to do where he likes to comprehensively review things. So if you're going to talk about a movie, he wants to go scene by scene by scene by scene and analyze it, right? It's a problem. We work on it. So this week's episode was the 2020 year in review.
Ooh, yes.
And Drew started off with, okay, January. It was such a Drew thing. Like, oh my God, we're going to go month by month. And he started going through all the news of January and everything that happened in January. And it was like,
over the highlights.
I was like, oh shit. Oh no. What month can I get to? But yeah, you guys do so much prep for that show. It's like insane.
We do a lot. A family time. I mean, this was a year where, you're very grateful to have a family and be with your family. And there's times you want to kill them, but there's times that you're just happy and you play a board game and you just chilling and relaxing. I mean, with that, of course, goes Goomba, whether it's, wiping his ass or, giving him a treat or playing with the guy, gotta love good old Goomba. Poor Goomba, John. I don't think he's left my house since January of like 12 months.
Right.
Well, we have outside. We do outside in a fenced-in yard. We'll run around. We'll play fetch. You know what the most he's done? A couple times I've taken him. I have a long driveway. I'll take him up the driveway to get the mail, or I'll take him in the car. Like if I'm gonna go pick up like pizza or something at a restaurant.
Right.
That's it. I don't. I'm not bringing them to a dog park. There's puppy daycare that sometimes we bring them to just to get exercise. I don't feel safe bringing them to that right now.
Yeah,
so I don't want to bring them anywhere. Mm-hmm. So it's just Disney Plus, that's been on every single day in my house since it came out. Kids love that. My new pool, if you don't remember, I got a new pool last end of the summer. Wasn't really like early September.
You enjoyed it for like 2 weeks and then you had to close it up.
Amy's already talking me into buying a heater for the pool so we can open it like middle of April, which I might just do. Anything and everything Nintendo, whether it's the amusement park that's opening, like I said, podcasting, playing video games, all that good stuff. Absolutely got me through this. And then lastly, golf. As you said, I am a golf nut, and I love golfing. And it's tough now with the kids, but anytime I get a chance to golf, I'm out on the golf course golfing.
But not what the golf.
No, not what the golf, just golf. What about you, John?
Yeah, it's funny. I don't know if I should say this out loud in case any of my workmates listen, but I actually worked from home for like 8 years, and on my new job, I'm working in the office, and it ended up being working in the office for a lot more than I thought it would be. I thought maybe 2 or 3 days in the office, but soon after I started there was a lot of pressure to like be in the office. So I was actually looking at some alternatives, like some other jobs possibly where I could work from home more because I really like that flexibility. And then the pandemic hit, and I thought I would work from home for a few weeks. It'd be nice. But that was March 12th. So we're already planning our 1-year anniversary away from the office. And I don't think we're going back to the office for a long time. So working from home has been a nice part of keeping me sane, that I don't have to wake up, shower, drive to the train station, take the train in, walk to my office, and then do it all in reverse.
That's right. You were taking the train.
I was losing about two hours a day commuting. However, because I was taking the train, I had about an hour of that time playing my Switch. So I would be on the train playing my Switch. So the commute's not as bad. I'm getting my hour that I'm going to play anyway. Yeah.
So let me ask you this: with you now working from home, doing this job, have you come to maybe enjoy the work? Which, it's funny when you think about it, right? Because let's honestly say, I'm not saying you definitely would have left your current job, but it's funny how things work, and now you're doing work that maybe you did enjoy,
Oh, yeah. Well, I enjoy my job more working from home because of the time I'm saving, that I could take a little gaming break from time to time. The office was... it was kind of a dark, dank office, and a bad ventilation, which is funny, which is why I don't think we're going back anytime soon, because the office, we can't go back there. But yeah, I really like working from home. I don't have to get dressed, so that's helped me. In my neighborhood, they built a new street, and they're like building new houses. Okay. And so for a long time, there's this long road where there's nothing, and I would do these long walks around my neighborhood. It would take me like an hour, 15 minutes, and I would throw on my AirPods, and I would listen to a podcast and just walk, and it was very nice. And now my wife does that with me, so we'll go for a walk. We'll do like an hour power walk, bitch about politics or whatever, and we've done that a lot. We do that cool. Like generally weekend mornings, especially when the weather's nice. But now that the kids are old enough and they, we leave them at home, and like we have more flexibility. And so sometimes we wake up at like 6:30 and I just get like an hour walk in during the week. And right now it's really cold, but every so often we can do it. And those have been really nice. Cool. I wouldn't be able to do that if I had to go into work. I'd have to, start my commute. So.
Yep.
And then we've settled into this little tradition of Friday nights we do like a food pickup.
Yep.
We'll go to Chipotle or Qdoba or some local restaurant or something, and we'll pick up food. We haven't eaten at a restaurant obviously in forever. And then Saturday mornings we'll do the Starbucks drive-through. Maybe get a hot chocolate or a mocha. And then Sunday mornings I usually will make pancakes for the kids. So we've kind of settled into that. It kind of makes 3 days of the week something a little special, little treat, or a little special.
I've always wanted to do, now that my kids are starting to get older too, like once they're at your age, I want to do almost like a mandatory like board game night or something like maybe like Wednesdays, like do it during the week a little bit, to break it up. But like every Wednesday, from 6 to 8 before bed, it's board game night. We'd have popcorn or snacks and play a board game or something. But
I try to get my kids into board gaming just to get them away from the screens.
Exactly. Yep. And
we played Settlers of Catan. I asked for it for Christmas, and we played. And I had a blast. It was the first time I ever played. We all kind of learned together. And I set up a little board gaming area in the basement. And I'm hoping to make it a thing. And I really want to play another game of Catan. Because, when you play a complicated game, you're kind of like, a little iffy. And then by the end of it, you're like, oh, I know my strategy. I know what I want to do. I can't wait to play this again. So I'll know how to play. And my kids, kind of aren't super excited about it. And it's like, God, I can't get them. Do you ever play Ticket to Ride? The same thing with Ticket to Ride. They didn't like Ticket to Ride. My oldest?
No, your youngest.
My youngest is 9. So they're 13, 11, 9.
Try Villainous, because they can relate to Disney a little bit more, and Villainous isn't over the top complicated once you get it. But I love Villainous. It's a blast for me.
And that's the thing, though. It's like you almost have to really make your kids play. I want to play Monopoly with them. Yes. Not that I think that they'll like it, but I just feel like they have to know how to play once in their life. Nobody plays Monopoly anymore, but our generation played a lot of Monopoly.
Oh,
right?
I absolutely. I used to gamble over Monopoly.
Yeah. So, I just try to get them into it more and more. But Ticket to Ride is one of my favorite games, and it's really easy. I thought my kids would love it. They're not into it. I don't know. So, and my daughter's at a phase where she's doing a lot of art. She likes to draw, and she just sees that as taking it away from her, taking that time away. I don't know. And then the last thing I have perfected is my wife's rocking chair, which she had when she would nurse the babies.
Oh, okay.
It's now mine. Her boppy, which she used to support the baby while she nursed, is now mine. And I will like pull up the rocking chair to the bed, sit down, put the boppy on me, play some Switch. I have a blanket. I have my feet up on the bed. Usually at night for like an hour, the kids are watching Netflix, and I'm just sitting there playing Dicey Dungeons or something like that. I love that time. That's the me time. So.
Yeah, I do the same thing with my lazy boy, and unfortunately, it's breaking my back. But
keep your head back. Keep your head back.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna practice.
Number 3.
All right, here's a question, Drew. We talked about Fenyx Rising. It is the most blatant ripoff of Breath of the Wild you've ever seen. Just if you haven't played this game, there's a little introductory island. They give you all your items, and then they kind of open up the world. There's tons of side quests. A lot of the side quests will remind you of Breath of the Wild. There are what I would classify, they're kind of in between a dungeon and sort of a shrine, but these little kind of somewhat easy shrines, even ones that have the big boulders that you have to like fly. I mean, it is a total ripoff of Breath of the Wild,
100%.
but Ubisoft has a good relationship with Nintendo. So, I will say this, I think it might be more beautiful than Breath of the Wild, just because it's 3 years later. I'm playing it on a Series X, so obviously it's not going to compare. But in terms of the gameplay, so given that the graphics are looking better, it's a bigger budget. It's just the way other AAA developers do it. It looks prettier. But how would you say it compares? And would you say Fenyx Rising is a better game than Breath of the Wild, or not a better game than Breath of the Wild?
That's almost unfair to say, because Zelda is Zelda, and it's going to be in your heart and mind regardless, just because of the theme. I will say there's things that they learned from Breath of the Wild and they improved on, just like if Breath of the Wild 2 came out. So there's a lot of stuff that made Fenyx very good. There's something about the combat that doesn't make me feel like great. Like when I hit a guy with this two-handed axe, I want to hear like a fleshy sound and like them get knocked back a little bit. And it's almost just like a little thud, and then that's it. And to me, like that's the stuff. I hate to say it, when you play Age of Calamity, like you hit the guys and you feel, and I'm not looking to see guys go flying and stuff, but something about the combat. And I'll be honest, the game isn't really about combat. There's so much puzzles and, little quests and stuff, and there's combat, but I don't think that's really the main thing. It's an exploring game, right? It's exploring the island. But the one thing that I thought was really weird with this game is because it's Ubisoft, is they tried to introduce like almost a battle pass pay to play on this open world RPG. And it's so weird. Did you happen to go into the menu and explore any of this stuff, John?
Not too much.
It's mostly skins. You can buy mostly skins for your character.
Okay.
You can buy like ingredients and stuff though, which I thought was interesting. So you could pretty much have unlimited potions at all time.
Oh.
I did go in there. I don't know how I got it. I had like 300 coins. So I did buy my daughter was watching me. I bought the rainbow unicorn horse as a mount.
Right.
And the only thing the direct perk it gave me was it has like 3 bars of stamina. So it can run for a long time. But that's not really going to make me improve my game, But I thought it was interesting that you could buy stuff in this game.
It's a little pay to winny, like
weird.
I don't know. I whenever I see a game that's really long, I don't like to do all the DLC because it's like, look, this is long enough as it is. I don't need it to be longer unless it's Breath of the Wild.
Agreed. So back to your original question with is it better? The theme is fun, right? Because it's all Greek mythology. It's very colorful because of that. It has the Dark Knight. It has the fun exploration. I can't say yes or no yet. I really can't because I've only played, like I said, probably 20% of the game, if that.
Okay.
But it has a lot going for it, but it also has some flaws that I found. There's a lot of annoying flaws, right? I mean, I'm sure you've come to the areas where you see a chest and there's like a red door in front of it.
Mm.
And then there's like 4 little purple crystals above the door. And
Right.
that means there's 4 things you have to activate in the area.
Right.
And it's like, sometimes they're hard to find. So you might spend 20 minutes activating these 4 crystals. You finally open the door and you get like 2 health potions or a couple crystals. And I'm like, that was not worth 20 minutes of. And then other times you get a brand new weapon. So
Yeah.
it's hard to
You
say.
don't
like,
know.
you don't know what it is. And like, I don't want to spend 20 minutes for 2 potions when I could have just knocked down a tree
Yeah.
and got items to make a potion. So
Mhm.
it there's ups and downs like that. But what about you?
Yeah, I think overall playing it on the Series X, it's a beautiful game and all that. So I really enjoy it from that point of view. I agree. I think given 3 years of hindsight, they were able to do improvements to the game, and I think most of it focused on quality of life type stuff.
Mhm.
The radar on the top, which is very much like Xenoblade, where like if you turn in a direction, you'll see it kind of sliding across the top. So all of the things that you've like unlocked on the map, those will appear when you get close to them. And we already talked about when you go to the towers, you can like mark every little thing. You just have to do it by hand. It's you got to like move around for like 5 minutes and find all of the things. Press the button, press the button, press the button. I wish they would just unlock it all. It's going to be a long enough game. Just unlock it all. If I find this tower, just do it. So I think they did some quality of life improvements. But yeah, like the gameplay, I find crawling on the mountains, like when you're like ascending, very sticky. Like in Breath of the Wild, you kind of get onto the mountain and you immediately start climbing. You tend to climb a lot faster than in this game. And then if you want to like try to do a jump while you're climbing, especially when you're getting low on stamina and you try to do that last jump, you can't do that in this game. You have to like press A to detach and then jump with your wings.
Well,
It's
let's
kinda
just
quirky.
say you can't yet, John.
Okay, I gotcha.
So you made it to the second area where you get to the main temple that has all your upgrade stuff. Have you got there yet?
I'm in the first big, with the upgrade stuff. Yeah,
So just
I'm in that area.
all I'm going to say is go around that upgrade stuff.
Okay.
There's the one upgrade area that has like the little blue swirly.
Blue swirly.
I don't know. It looks like a little blue circle portal thing.
Mm-hmm.
You can upgrade like your skills and points and just look in that area. There's upgrade to allow for better stuff.
That would be another thing too. Like I feel like they put all of the upgrade stuff in one place and it's really arbitrary and goofy. So you just go to this tower and you upgrade everything. And I feel like upgrading your stamina and other stuff just, I don't know, it just involves, obviously in Breath of the Wild, there's one place where you spend all the orbs that you got from the shrines. But there's just something weird about this one little hub area where you just upgrade everything so arbitrarily. There's definitely something like the world itself. So here's the big difference. In Breath of the Wild, there's these mountains and caverns and valleys, and you can never see the whole map at once, right? They hide a lot. And maybe some of that is just to hide things from a technology point of view, because they can't really show you everything. But in this game, when you go up to those towers, you can see everything. There's very little that's hidden from you. Well, and sometimes they'll have a little turn around a cave or something like that, but everything's very easy to get to. Whereas in Breath of the Wild, there's some stuff you really have to like explore and scale and find.
So there's no motivation to explore in this game. Zero for me. I don't know about you.
It's all out there. Yeah, you just go to a tower and beep, 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 beep. Maybe there's a couple things. Like I know I found a harp in the intro island that I think you didn't find because you had to really kind of look. But it's not a big deal. No. But in Breath of the Wild, you're like walking on the side of a mountain and you see some stuff and you're like, ooh, what's up there? And you go up there. This game doesn't really have that. You're sort of like going from thing to thing to thing to thing because the map made it easy for you. It does take it away. And so,
I agree. And the last thing I'll say is I found with Breath of the Wild, I wanted to do everything. And maybe because that's the Zelda. In this game, I'm like, well, if I don't do that rift, if I don't get that chest, whatever. Like, it's out of
Yeah.
my way. If I come across it again, I'll do it.
Yeah, the
So.
little challenges. Yeah. So I think what we're saying, Breath of the Wild is still better.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Number 2.
Monthly Mayhem is done, Drewski. This was a long one. Age of Calamity. We picked a game that we knew a lot of people were going to play. And our second game was Legend of Zelda on the Switch Online. But we'll talk about that one. But basically, gotta say here, Age of Calamity, when we do these contests, we don't really know the game. Often when we do these Nintendo games, we don't have a good idea of what's in the game. And we had to change the rules pretty quickly because we were trying to base it on getting Korok seeds. What we didn't know was that the Korok seeds are really just a currency. There is a finite number of them in the game, but there is nowhere in the game where it will tell you how many Korok seeds you got. So once you spend them, it just you're like, oh, I don't have any left, and there's no way to say how many did I get total. Now the good news is when we made that rule change, we changed it to map completion, and I think that was way better for a couple of reasons. One, if we just made this game about Korok seeds, people would have to replay certain areas to just get Korok seeds, and they wouldn't be exploring the whole game. We'd be wasting time. And the other thing is, in order to do the map completion, in order to complete 100%, you have to get Korok seeds anyway. So really, you had to get Korok seeds in this game in order to get the maximum percentage. So we've talked about the game in the past, but you were able to 100% this game. Can you tell me how horrific that was?
It was, and it wasn't. So in the beginning, it was just keep doing every freaking little quest that pops up,
and they constantly pop up.
And it was fine. It was okay. Right? It was a little bit different. It was I don't mind playing these hack and slash games. I enjoy them. You kind of can just zone out and do it. The problem was the Korok seeds, John. That a lot of these levels and missions I already played, I had to go back and play again. I did have to use a map and guide or a walkthrough for these because I was not playing them more than once. I was getting them all. There was like 2 or 3 levels I did have to play a couple times because I accidentally beat the level like you don't know. There was some weird ones. But it wasn't as bad because when I'm going back and playing these levels, I started out at like the real easy ones, and I was already level, 85, 90 at that point, and I was running through these levels. And what I would do is I would cook potions or recipes that would just like increase speed, so I was hauling ass through these levels. But it was tedious. This was one of the most tedious, pat my back, proud of, accomplishments I had in a game in a long time. It was a lot of work. Not hard, just tedious.
I admire you, and I wouldn't say it's not even that hard because it's
not hard.
I was trying to go for that 100%, but yeah, like the way the levels just kept popping up, it was so demotivating. And then you'd play through a level, and oh my god, the same bosses over and over again. Beat this guy, beat this guy, beat this Talon, beat this. It was just, it was the same ones over and over again. Yep. And I had gotten to a point where like I had a certain completion and nothing was blinking on the map. There was like nothing I could unlock. And I knew I had to either go through some older levels that I'd already done, which I didn't want to do. And around that time you said, oh, you do have to get all the Korok seeds. So you basically would have to replay through the entire game again because surely there was a Korok seed in every level that was missing.
Oh yeah.
And you could go online and get maps to find these things, which you'd probably do.
Yep.
But my god, like I did not want to do that. So
I think at this point either it's fair to spoil. I won't spoil, but all I'll say is there is a true ending. Not at 100%. It comes before the 100%, but there is a true ending. I think I talked about last week. There is 100% reward as well. So there's a true ending. I don't know what percentage it is. You have to do a certain amount of side quests, and then you get a little gift at the end of 100%. But John, we have to give away some money.
we've got a little contest. So we had, how many competitors do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That seems to be the magic number.
Yeah, more than I thought.
11 competitors. And as usual, we got some different competitors this time. We always end up at 11, but we always have some new people.
We always have Jesse, by the way. I did have props to Jesse.
Yeah, gotta give props. So we had, like I said, we had 2 competitions. Age of Calamity, you got 3 points for every percentage of the map completion that you did. And then the secondary game, which you're not going to win the contest with, but you'll get in the lotto, was playing the original Legend of Zelda. There's 16 hearts in the game, and you got 3 points per heart. So, we had 11 competitors. So let's go through it and see how everyone did, right?
Let's do it.
So number 11, Sanny Rod 64 and Chris HL 94 both took a swag at Legend of Zelda. Ended up with 4 hearts. Drew, how many hearts do you begin with in Legend of Zelda?
I believe that would be 3, John. So, hey, you know what? They took the effort. They took the effort to go beat that first dungeon, I guess you could say. And they probably played it for 15 minutes. Good for them. And they have a chance of winning.
I don't want to be mean, but yeah, they went and beat the first dungeon, and they were like, I'm good. No, but I shouldn't be mean.
Imagine they beat somebody like, me, who probably spent 100 hours on the game. That would be amazing.
Yeah. In 9th place, Laffer. And Laffer did not play Age of Calamity. He played Legend of Zelda, but he completed Legend of Zelda. 32 points, got all the hearts. Great job there. Shiv UK. I think That's Shiv new. UK is a new competitor. Completed Age of Calamity. Looks like pretty close to just doing the main quest. Ended up with a 34%. So great job. Anybody who got a percentage in this competition beat the game.
We didn't have anybody.
It's actually the only way.
Well, true.
Yeah.
We would have accepted if you didn't beat it. We would have given you some points of some sort.
Well, sure, some points, but the only way to get an actual percentage was to beat the game. So we had a lot of people who beat the game.
Yeah, so if you beat the game, you pretty much got 100 points.
Yeah, so Shiv UK got 102 points. Simple Monk. I think he won last month. 49% completion for 147 points. Dat Fast. Also, 49%, 100% completion. And then, right, I'm sorry, I'm reading 2 things at once. 49% for 147 points. Then me.
Middle of the pack.
I win. No, I don't win. 54% completion.
Slow, John. That's slow.
54%. I was trying to go for it, Drew. I really, really did try. And I played so much. It was so repetitive. I hit one particular level that was like one of those running between all the different areas. You have to win the 3 towers. It actually really felt like the first Hyrule Warriors. And it was just so frustrating.
So did you go back after you beat it or no?
Oh, no. When I stopped playing for the competition, I haven't gone back, and I don't think I will go back. Yeah. It's just so repetitive. My God. So, but I really did enjoy the game. I love the story and all that. So I'm really happy I played it. Now in 4th place, Phoenix Down. And Phoenix Down actually completed Legend of Zelda. So you might be wondering why they're in 4th place. They got a 67% in Age of Calamity. So great job doing both. Now, we only count the points for one, so we counted his points for Age of Calamity. 201 points. So great job. Frosticles 43. I like to call him Frosticles. Does anyone else do that? I don't know why.
Not I.
So I'm just going to do it. Frosticles 43 with an impressive 78% completion, 234 points. Great job over in the UK.
He struggled. He was posting quite a bit on Discord just that. He wanted to. He didn't have it in him anymore. He kept trying. He couldn't do it.
He got so far and and then the top 2, Hambone Johnny And Drewski with 100% completion, 300 points. You two were the only two that did the completion. I think Hambone Johnny got it right before you, but they count the same. So nothing else to say. Congratulations on that.
Oh, thank you.
So the winner, we had obviously a tie for first place. I was not comfortable deciding the winner. I usually do this with like a random number generator or whatever, but you're involved, and I'm trying not to give like a bias or whatever. So to decide this winner, I asked Nick. Well, first I said to you, Drew, heads or tails, and you said heads. And then I had Nick flip a coin.
Ooh.
And I had the heads or tails on my screen. I took a picture. I'll send it out later.
Wait, did Nick take a video of him flipping the coin?
No, he didn't take a video, but I did not tell him who would be the winner by his coin flip. So I wrote it down. I chatted him. I took a picture with the head and tail. And he came back to me. And the winner of Monthly Mayhem for December 2020, the worst year in history, is Drew. You have done it.
You know, I just want to say thank you to myself. And, you know, John, I want to take back what I said earlier. I do have a New Year's resolution. My New Year's resolution is I will not claim any more prizes of Monthly Mayhem. I'm going to take this prize with glory that I deserve. And then all of 2021, I will no longer be eligible to win the prize. How about that?
The first prize or the lotto prize? You got to be eligible, man.
The first prize.
Yeah, we're not doing...
I will still be eligible for the random drawing, but after this win, I don't need any other win in my life. I feel complete. I feel 100% complete, as I should say. And thank you for all the support.
Well, look, you earned it. Obviously, we don't exclude ourselves from this contest because it's the only reason we run it. So we have fun with it. But your last win was the Paper Mario competition 3 competitions ago. So this is Drew's second win all time. And I believe you won a lotto. Yeah, you won the Super Mario Maker 2 lotto. So $15. Go claim your prize from Marty. But now we have a lotto to do.
Yes, we do.
Well, we've already done the lotto. And the winner of the lotto is...
Oh, give it to the 4-heart people.
Simple Monk, with his 49.73% completion for the second contest in a row, has won the lottery. Yes. 2 in a row. Simple Monk, go play the real lottery, man. You're playing with small potatoes over here. So congratulations to you. You get a $10 card. Get yourself some eShop games. This is Simple Monk's second victory, and they both came consecutively. Wow. So great job. Yeah. That was a good contest.
We want to make sure everybody stays tuned. We're going to take a little, John? A little 2-week break, and then next episode, 28, we'll announce the next game we'll be playing. Does that sound good?
Yeah. We have something very interesting planned. So, yeah, keep an eye out for this one.
Absolutely.
I'm really glad to wrap this up. That went a long time, and I haven't played it in a while. So Age of Calamity, really great game. I hope everybody had fun, giving you a little extra oomph to do a little more completion in the game. Maybe we helped propel you. Maybe we were the wind beneath your wings.
That's it.
And number 1.
All right, as we keep saying, 2020 was a year we don't want to think about anymore. And moving on to 2021, John, I want to ask the one question. What is your dream for Nintendo in 2021? What would you like to see, announce, anything, anywhere? What do you want?
All right, here's my dream, Drew, and it's a very easy dream. I am in the Nintendo lull. I'm in the second half of the console, and I'm finding that the other console's power is wooing me over. So, yes, I didn't want to play Fenyx Rising on the Switch. I decided to make it my first Series X game, and I'm really enjoying it. And yeah, I'm going to be doing that with most of the third-party titles, especially ones that are on Game Pass.
Disappointing, John. If your coworker knew Fake Tits, would you go to her? No.
No, I
You
would
stay
not.
loyal.
Yeah, but like I said, I would play both, Drew. But I'm still playing tons and tons of Switch, especially Dicey Dungeon. So right now, Switch has become my indie machine and my Nintendo first-party title machine. Now, in 2021, I want a Switch Pro. I want updated hardware, and what I'd like to see is a more powerful system with more storage. Not that you can't buy an SD card, but I'd rather see it come with like at least 128 gigs of space. I want a better screen and I want more performance. I'm looking at a $500 price point. I know that not everybody's going to get that, but I want it, and I know millions of Switch gamers would want that, and I really want to help them, propel them to the highest sales ever. So I'd like to see that come. I have heard people say they want it to be paired with Breath of the Wild 2, and I can't disagree with that now. So even though I would have to wait, I would like to see a new Switch console for holiday 2021 that is released on the same day as Breath of the Wild 2 and includes a Breath of the Wild 2 themed Switch Pro. I won't get into all of the little changes that I want on Switch Pro, but basically I just want a faster, better performing console that can play some of those older games that have frame rate issues, like Age of Calamity and Breath of the Wild, and games like that have some performance issues, with Nintendo. The Witcher, games like that. So that's the console. In terms of the games, we're already getting a great start to the year. We're going to get Bravely Default 2 in February, so I'm very excited about that. Yeah. And I actually love having kind of January, February as sort of backlog months. So I have no problem that not much is coming out. So Bravely Default 2 is a great start. I need Bayonetta, Drew. Bayonetta
you do need
3
it.
Has to come out. I don't care when. It needs to come out. And how do I want to know when it comes out? I want to know when it comes out because I want a full Nintendo Direct. I want to see the full Nintendo Directs again. I miss them.
I do miss
dearly. I do. They're really an event. Like when they announce them, I am just so excited. So I want to see the full Directs come.
I hear you.
And I want it. I don't know where I want Bayonetta in there, in the beginning, the end, or whatever, but I just want to hear her voice, and I want to see her, and I want to know that Bayonetta is coming, and then I'll play through the first two games again, and I'll play it. In terms of other games, we talked about the sports titles. I would really like to see an online Mario Strikers game for the Switch. I prefer a new one. I don't want like a port thing. I prefer a new one. I'd love to play that online. I think that would be great fun. I think the Wii one you could play online.
You could. It was online.
Yeah. I don't think I played with anybody. I think I knew anybody that had it.
I played the shit out of that game.
Yeah. I would love to play some random. I'd love to play people in the community in it. So that'd
be a good mayhem game.
That would be a good one. So that's the sports game I want. And in terms of other games, I mean, I'd love to see Silk Song as much as I didn't like Hollow Knight that much. And I will still bicker with people on Twitter about it from time to time. I love Metroidvanias, and I kind of like the art style. And I have a feeling Silk Song would be a game that would fix some of the problems with Hollow Knight. And I think we're seeing it by how long it's taking to come out. So I think they're addressing maybe some of the feedback from the first game. So I'd be excited about that. But in terms of Nintendo, what other games do I want to see? I really want to see either Super Mario Odyssey 2 or some other Super Mario game. Mm-hmm. And I think making 2021 feel like 2017 would be amazing, especially in a year when the PS5 and the Series X start ramping up some of these titles that are going to come. I think having Zelda and Mario there will be great to feel like when Switch came out and those games came out that first year, plus Xenoblade, it was so much fun. I'd really like to see that. I'd really like to see some Super Mario Party DLC. I want a reason to go play that game again. Yeah, I mean, you can't complain about games anymore. Whether Nintendo makes games or not, there's so many indies, There's so many great third-party titles coming over. They just announced recently new content for Bloodstained, which is like they're making like Castlevania type levels in the Bloodstained universe, but not a retro game. I mean, like, I'm so excited for that. Excuse me. There's a lot I'm excited for. But yeah, I need Breath of the Wild 2 and I need Bayonetta. That's all I need this year. And I want to play it on my fancy new Switch Pro that has better Joy-Cons, better performance, more storage. And I want it this year, whenever you give it to me. December 1st, January, whatever. Give it to me.
I think you're very greedy. I'm going to make my request very simple for my dream year, which every listener probably knows by now. I just need a really good Mario Golf game. I mean, would I take a Switch Pro? Sure. I don't need it, though. As I said earlier. I also will say, this hurts me to say it, Zelda's probably my number one favorite franchise of any game system, right? But I'm almost Zelda'd out right now. You know, Link's Awakening last year, which was really almost a year ago, right? Age of Calamity, I think, burnt me out. Now I'm playing Phoenix, which is so similar to Breath of the Wild. I, like you said, would almost rather see like a Mario Odyssey 2 or some type of new Mario game, not a port, a new Mario game. We really, I'm trying to think, what was the last new Mario game we had?
That'd be Mario Odyssey.
Exactly. So I there has to be one in the works.
Yeah.
I want to see a new Mario game. That's what I want. I would absolutely love Mario Party, but like we talked about again another episode, not necessarily DLC. How about just a new Mario Party game in general? My dream came true last year. We had a Paper Mario, so that's good for me there. But yeah, just give me. I'd take Strikers, like you said. I think we need to see something. I could almost guarantee there'll be a Mario something in 2021. And I know that's an easy prediction, but it's really due, right? I mean, we have Bowser's Fury coming out in a couple months, but again, that's a port, you know, with a little bit of extra that we don't even know what it is. I do think, or my dream would be within the next 4 weeks, I want a direct to come out and just spill the beans. I want a timeline, and you know Nintendo will never do that. But I would love to see a timeline of this year. You know, it gives you a little bit of, you know, security for us.
I think the timeline is tough because there's still COVID delays and things like that. But I think we are due for our January update, and I hope it's real direct. But you're right. There's going to be something.
We got to get to the spring. We need everything that's coming out this spring with maybe a teaser of what's coming in the summer or fall. But we need to know what's coming. Because like you said, now's the time. If people don't know, they're going to start buying other consoles, and that's not what Nintendo wants. They have to come out soon. And I hate to say it, they have something up their sleeves this year. I don't know what, but they have something. The other thing I want to continue to see is more outside of video gaming systems and video games in general, but Nintendo as a brand continue to grow as it is with theme parks. I want to see a trailer for their DreamWorks film. I want to even see potentially of other spin-offs of maybe a Donkey Kong film. I want to see more Nintendo branching out of other money-making opportunities than video gaming. Personally, I just love Nintendo as a whole. I want it everywhere and anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think.
Do you think we're going to see some of that Mario movie this year? I mean, I keep waiting for.
I think we'll see a trailer at some point this year. Yep, I do.
Okay.
I think we'll see a little bit of what the design looks like. Maybe we won't see him voiced at all, but maybe at least see like a music in the background of some sort. I think we will see something. I mean, the next few years are going to be media heavy with Mario between the amusement parts and the film, and whatever else comes along. You know, hell, let's see like a Netflix show. Why not? Or a Zelda show. Something, you know?
Excuse me, princess.
Such a good show. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting year to definitely see that. But before we sign off, John, what's happening over the next few weeks?
Absolutely nothing, Drew. Yeah, usually we kind of say what's coming out. There's really nothing coming out. a bunch of little, nobody heard of indies or whatever. January is going to be very thin. I think the only big game of note is Cyber Shadow, which comes out in a few weeks. Other than that, not much is coming out. And then February, this year more than anything, in February, we start seeing some games right away. We'll see Bowser's Fury, and we'll see Persona 5 Strikers, and we're going to see Bravely Default 2. But it's going to be a little dry this January, but that's good. Work on your backlog, play something you haven't played before, and just have fun with it. I always enjoy it. It's just being able to catch up. I don't want new games. There's always so much to play. We'll never have nothing to play. So enjoy the time. But there ain't nothing coming out for 2 weeks.
Alrighty then. Well, that's all I got. Everyone, have a happy, safe New Year, and good night from me.
Good night, Dads.
The Dads After Dark show is a part of the Nintendo Dads family of podcasts. You can subscribe to us anywhere podcasts are available, including iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, and Stitcher. Be sure to join us on the Nintendo Dads Discord in the Dads After Dark show channel for some naughty After Dark talk. Follow us on Twitter at NDadsAfterDark. Ask us a question, and we may answer it on the show. That's all for tonight. Good night, Dads. Sweet dreams.